Hi students, in the previous lecture we have seen what are complex numbers, how to represent them in the Argand plane, what are some of the very basic operations on complex numbers, and what is modulus and arguments. Now in the second lecture we are going to study about some of the very important properties of arguments. We are going to see the geometrical meaning of addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of complex numbers. Then we are going to study about the famous De Moivre's theorem and the Coni's rotation formula, and we are also going to see the sectional formula for the internal and external division of complex numbers. In a previous lecture we have defined what is an argument of a complex number. Now let's see some of the very important properties of arguments. The first is argument of z1 into z2 is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2 plus 2k pi, where k is equal to 0 or 1 or equal to minus 1. Thus, if we have got two numbers z1 and z2, then the argument of z1 into z2 is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2 plus 2k pi, where k is equal to 0 or 1 or minus 1. The second is argument of z1 by z2 is equal to argument of z1 minus argument of z2 plus 2k pi, where k is equal to 0 or 1 or minus 1. So if we have got two complex numbers z1 and z2, then the argument of their division, that is z1 by z2, is equal to argument of z1 minus argument of z2 plus 2k pi. The third is argument of z conjugate is equal to minus of argument of z. So if z bar represents the conjugate of a complex number z, then the argument of z conjugate is equal to minus of argument of z. The fourth is argument of z by z conjugate is equal to 2 times argument of z plus 2k pi, where k is equal to 0, 1 or minus 1. So if z is a complex number, then z bar would be its conjugate. So if we divide z by z bar, then we get another complex number, and the conjugate of this complex number would be equal to 2 times the argument of z plus 2k pi, where k is equal to 0, 1 or minus 1. The fifth is argument of z to the power of n is equal to n times argument of z plus 2k pi. Here k is equal to 0 or minus 1. So if we have a complex number z, then the argument of z to the power of n is equal to n times the argument of z plus 2k pi. The sixth is argument of z2 by z1 is equal to theta. Then the argument of z1 by z2 would be equal to 2k pi minus theta, where k is an integer. So if we have the argument of z2 by z1 equal to theta, then the argument of z1 by z2 would be equal to 2k pi minus theta, where k is an integer. The next property is, if the argument of z is equal to 0, then z is a real number. So argument represents the inclination of z with respect to the real number. So if this argument is equal to 0, then z lies on the real axis, and so z becomes a purely real number. So these are some of the very important properties of arguments, and you'll find these properties are very much similar to the properties that we use in logarithms. So remembering them is quite easy. Let's solve an IIT problem that appeared in 2000 and which is based on the concept of argument of complex numbers. This problem says that if argument of z is less than 0, then the argument of minus z minus argument of z is equal to option number A is pi, option number B is minus pi, option number C is minus pi by 2, and option number D is pi by 2. So here we have an IIT problem in which it is given that if the argument of z is less than 0, then we have to find out the value of argument of minus z minus argument of z, and we have been given the 4 options. So let's see how to solve this problem. Given to us is that the argument of z is less than 0. So let us say that the argument of z is equal to minus theta. The theta is a positive angle. Now z could be written as equal to r times cos of minus theta plus iota times sine of minus theta. We have written z in a polar form where the modulus of z is equal to r and the argument is equal to minus theta. Now we also know that cos of minus theta is always equal to cos theta, and sin of minus theta is equal to minus sin theta. Therefore z would be equal to r times cos of theta minus iota times sin of theta. Now minus z would be equal to minus r into cos of theta minus iota sin theta. We can take this minus sign inside this bracket to write r times cos of pi minus theta plus iota times sin of pi minus theta. We know that sin of pi minus theta is equal to sin theta, and cos of pi minus theta is equal to minus cos theta. This would be minus cos theta and this would be plus sin theta. Thus we have written minus z equal to r times cos of pi minus theta plus iota times sin of pi minus theta. Now what do we see? We see that the argument of minus z would be equal to pi minus theta. Thus the argument of z is equal to minus theta, and the argument of minus z is equal to pi minus theta. So argument of minus z minus argument of z would be equal to pi minus theta minus minus theta. This becomes plus theta, and both these gets cancelled, and what we get is equal to pi. Thus the argument of minus z minus argument of z is equal to pi, and so we can say that option number A is correct. Thus we have solved this problem and seen that option number A is correct. Let's try to solve this problem geometrically. Let us say that this is an Argand plane in which x represents the real axis and y represents the imaginary axis. Now let us say that z is represented by this complex number, and this is minus theta. Because the argument of z is negative, so let us say that this is minus theta. Here remember that the magnitude of this angle is equal to theta. We have written minus theta because the argument is negative, and so z lies below the real axis. So this would be minus theta. Now minus z would be the reflection of z about the origin. So this becomes minus z. Thus this complex number is minus z. Also we see that these two complex numbers lie in a straight line. Therefore this would be a straight line, and we know that the angle formed by a straight line is equal to 180 degrees or is equal to pi. Therefore this entire angle would be equal to pi. Now we also know that this angle is equal to theta, and so this very angle, the angle formed by minus z with the real axis, this angle would be equal to pi minus theta. Thus this angle is equal to pi minus theta, and this angle is equal to minus theta. Therefore pi minus theta minus minus theta would be equal to pi. Therefore we can say that argument of minus z minus argument of z is equal to pi. Even geometrically we can solve this problem. Now the addition of complex numbers. Now let's see the geometrical meaning of addition of complex numbers. Let us say that we have a complex number z1 and we have another complex number z2. Now we have to add both these complex numbers z1 and z2. And what we do is we draw a line that is parallel to z2, this red line, and it starts from this point. The originating point would be the end point of z1. So we draw a line that is parallel to z2, the end point of z1. Now we join this point with this point. Now this very point or this very line represents z1 plus z2. So the addition of two complex numbers z1 and z2 is done by this procedure. We draw z1 and we draw a line that is parallel to z2 from the end point of z1, and we join this point with the origin. Thus this very point represents z1 plus z2. Now let's see the subtraction of two complex numbers. So we are going to find out z2 minus z1. For that we can write z2 minus z1 equal to z2 plus minus of z1. Now what we do is we draw minus z1. So this would be minus z1. It is symmetrical about the origin, so this becomes minus z1. Again we have to add z2 to this complex number. Now we draw a line parallel to z2 having the same modulus and from the end point of z1. So this is a line that is parallel to z2 having the same modulus and having the starting point as the end point of z1. So this would be z2, and again we join this point with this point, and so this becomes z2 minus z1 or z2 plus minus z1. So this is the geometrical meaning of addition of complex numbers. When we want to add, we simply draw the first complex number and we draw the second complex number in such a way that its starting point is the end point of the first complex number and we join the origin to this point. Thus becomes z1 plus z2. Similarly, for finding z2 minus z1, what we do is we draw minus z1 and add it to z2. Thus becomes z2 minus z1. Now let's see some of the very important facts. If z is a complex number represented on the complex plane, then minus z is its reflection around origin. We have already seen that minus z is nothing but the reflection of z about the origin. Let us say that this is the Argand plane in which this represents the origin. We draw a complex number z, then minus z would be the reflection of this complex number about the origin. Therefore, this becomes minus z. Thus, in the Argand plane, minus z is the reflection of z about the origin. Similarly, z bar or the conjugate of z is the reflection of z along the real axis. So now we take the reflection of z along the real axis to get the conjugate of z. Again, we take the Argand plane in which this is the origin, and this represents the real axis and this represents the imaginary axis. Now let's say this represents z. Z is a complex number. Now the reflection of z about the real axis would be this one, and this represents z bar or conjugate of z. So conjugate of z is nothing but the reflection of z along the real axis. We clearly know that if z is equal to a plus iota b, then its conjugate would be a minus iota b. That is, the real part remains the same. The magnitude of real part remains the same, and also the magnitude of imaginary part remains the same, but it changes sign. That is, if it's positive, then it becomes negative, and vice versa. Here we see that the real part remains the same, but the imaginary part changes its sign. Here it is positive and here it becomes negative. So z bar or the conjugate of z is a reflection of z along the real axis. Now the square of modulus of z is equal to z into conjugate of z. So this is a very important property, that the square of the modulus of z is equal to z into conjugate of z. Thus from this we can write 1 by z is equal to z conjugate divided by square of modulus of z. So if we have to find out 1 by z, then that would be equal to conjugate of z divided by square of modulus of z. Now let's see the geometrical meaning of multiplication of two complex numbers z1 and z2. Let us say that we have a complex number z1 which is represented in the polar form as r1 into cos theta 1 plus iota sin theta 1. Here the modulus is r1 and the argument is theta 1. Similarly, we take another complex number z2 and let us say that this is represented as equal to r2 into cos theta 2 plus iota sin theta 2. Here again modulus is r2 and the argument is theta 2. Now we take these two complex numbers and multiply them together. What we get? z1 into z2 would be equal to r1 into r2 into cos theta 1 plus iota sin theta 1 into cos theta 2 plus iota sin theta 2. Further, this could be written as r1 into r2 into, when we multiply both these terms, what we get is cos theta 1 into cos theta 2 minus sin theta 1 into sin theta 2 plus iota times sin theta 1 into cos theta 2 plus sin theta 2 into cos theta 1. Now we also know that cos of a plus b is equal to cos a cos b minus sin a sin b, and similarly sin of a plus b is equal to sin a cos b plus sin b cos a. We use this formula. What we get is z1 into z2 equal to r1 into r2 into cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus iota times sin of theta 1 plus theta 2. So when we multiply both these complex numbers z1 and z2, what we get is r1 into r2 into cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus iota times sin of theta 1 plus theta 2. Now again, this is a complex number. Now what do we observe here? We see that the modulus of z1 into z2 would be equal to modulus of z1 into modulus of z2, which is equal to r1 into r2. Here the modulus of this complex number would be r1 into r2. Here r1 is a modulus of z1 and r2 is a modulus of z2. So the modulus of this complex number would be r1 into r2. Similarly, the argument of z1 into z2, the argument here would be theta 1 plus theta 2. Therefore, this is equal to argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Argument of z1 is theta 1 and argument of z2 is theta 2. Thus, when we multiply two complex numbers z1 and z2, then the modulus would be the modulus of z1 into modulus of z2, and the argument of z1 z2 would be argument of z1 plus argument of z2. Now let's try to understand it geometrically. Let us say that this is the Argand plane in which this represents the real axis and this represents the imaginary axis. Now let us say that we have a complex number z1, and let us say that the argument of this complex number is theta1, that is the angle made by z1 with the real axis is theta1. Similarly, we have another complex number z2 and its argument is theta2. Therefore, the angle made by this complex number with the real axis would be theta2. Now, if we multiply both these complex numbers, then the modulus would be modulus of z1 into modulus of z2, and similarly the argument would be theta1 plus theta2. Thus, when we multiply, we get this as a complex number z1 into z2. Here what we see is the magnitude or the modulus of this complex number would be modulus of z1 into modulus of z2, and the argument would be this very argument, which is actually equal to theta1 plus theta2. So simply, if we have to draw this complex number, then what we do is we multiply the modulus of both these complex numbers, so that would be the modulus of this complex number, and also the inclination of this complex number with the real axis would be the sum of the arguments of this complex number and this complex number, theta1 plus theta2. So this is the geometrical meaning of multiplication of two complex numbers. So now based on this, let's try to solve an example. Let z be a complex number, then iota times z is a complex number which is obtained by rotating z by an angle of pi by 2 anti-clockwise. This is because modulus of I is equal to 1 and argument of I is equal to pi by 2.